In this tutorial, we'll show you how to use some of the basic features of Moodle inside the courses. So first, log into Moodle. Here's your home page. Here's your blocks. Let's go ahead and log into this class here, Foundations for Leadership. What you'll see first in a class is a brief introduction by the instructor, and then some various general items here. This instructor has a read this first document. My recommendation, read that first. Then general announcements, a course outline. In our classes, we offer a prayer and devotional chapel in each class, questions for the instructor, and then a link to the library. So let's take a look at each of these here and see what happens when you start to click on them. Here's her read this first. General information about the class. This is a good practice for a teacher to do this. Now, how do you get out of this and back to the class? Well, there's a couple ways. You can, of course, hit the back arrow button in your browser, but Moodle also uses this breadcrumbs trail sort of navigation here. So if you notice here, this is how the course was, how you got to the place where you're at now. So you could click on this right here, and this will take you to the home page. If you go all the way to the left here, this will take you back to your student home page. This is the course home page right here, and this is where we were. There's announcements, and this instructor hasn't posted any announcements yet. There's a course outline in each course. This is what we call a syllabus. It gives you a couple of options. You can either open it right here, or you can save it, or do a save as. For something like a course outline, I'd recommend doing a save as, and make sure you know where you put it. This is a pretty basic sort of function. So put it on your desktop. You'll probably want to start setting up folders for each of your courses. I'm not going to do that now, but that's how you do it. If you go into the prayer and devotional chapel here, here's the instructor's basic introduction about this and just an encouragement to be a part of this. And then there's the library, and this is a link directly to Life Pacific College's library. Now there's a couple ways you can open these links here, by the way. If you just click on it, it sort of takes over your main browser space here. But if you want to keep that other space open at the same time, you can right-click it and then say Open in a new tab. And then you'll see here in Explorer, it popped up as a new tab. Actually, it gave you a little bit of information about the link itself. So then you would click on this. So now you've got your class and the library at the same time, which is kind of a cool thing to do. Oops. Okay, so that's sort of the general introduction to each class. Now, each class is going to be divided into weeks. In the degree completion program, each class is 5 weeks long. So you'll see here's week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. Here's all the information you'll need for each week. Now if you're looking at this and thinking, man, that's a lot of stuff to look at all at one time, you can minimize all this other stuff and just make the current week available. And you can do that by clicking on this little box right here. And see, it highlights a little text that says Show Only Week 1. So if you click on that, now the introduction is still there, but all the other weeks are gone. So this definitely makes it a lot cleaner. And then if you want to jump to another week, you can just click on another week's date here, and then boom, it'll give you the same thing. Here's week 4 instead. We just jumped to that. There's no way to minimize all this introduction stuff. Okay, so let's open this back up and go to our full view. Actually, tell you what, let's just show this week here, because now I'm going to focus in on just the week. So here's week 1 of this course. It has some course objectives listed here. And then in each week you'll see several items fairly consistently. There will be a folder here with course materials, and this is where the teacher will post lectures, PowerPoints, perhaps videos. This will be the discussion board for the week, and then these will be the assignments. So under the assignments label, you'll have various assignments for that week. Now, let's back up and look at these individuals. Under the course materials folders, you'll see several files here. There's a .mov file, a .doc file, and a couple of PowerPoints. Let's open up one of these. Now this particular browser asks you if you want to open it or save it. Let's just go ahead and open it. And voila, there it is. And if you want to view it as a regular slideshow in PowerPoint, just go ahead and do that. And you have a nice outline here, an overview of that particular topic. You can also save it as well. Let's open up a doc here. If we click on that, it gives us the option to save. So let's do a save as, and we'll put it right on the desktop and click save. And so now if you go back to your desktop, you'll see that lecture right there, and you can open it up there. And of course sometimes you'll have little movies and video clips. Let's just open this one up here and see what it looks like.
So I read Luke 15 from beginning to end, and it dawned on me for the first time in my life that there's a reason why there are 3 little stories in the passage in that chapter.
Okay, well, there's a video clip of Bill Hybels having an epiphany. Okay, so those are your materials. And then there's the discussion board. Now the discussion board is very important in Moodle. This is how you're going to interact for the most part with your fellow students and with your instructor. So let's click on the week 1 discussion here and see what it looks like. First thing you'll see are the instructions. These are general instructions. These aren't the actual questions, but this is just the sort of orienting instructions for how to do this particular dialogue. There might be different formats. There might be post 250 words and respond to 2 students. There might be do a point counterpoint response format where you make a point and then somebody responds to you and then you respond to them. There's different styles of dialogue, so make sure you read this and see the kind of style that this particular instructor wants to use. And then there's an introductory discussion, and then there's week 1 dialogue question 1, week 1 dialogue question 2. Okay, so it looks like there's 3 things going on this week. Now, by the way, you might have noticed that there is something called groups in here. Because our classes cohorts tend to be fairly large, we like to break them down into smaller groups. Groups usually about 6 to 10 students. That makes for a more interactive type of group discussion. You can view everybody. You can view all of the posts. Now, notice how it just doubled immediately because now there's 2 groups instead of 1. But you can only post to your particular group. So, for the most part, you're going to want to have your group visible, and then you can actually participate. So let's take a look at dialogue question 1 for week 1. Alright, so this teacher posted something here regarding courageous leadership and Bill Hybels, whose video we were just looking at. So you read the question and says give a succinct definition of the church. So what you'll do is you'll reply by hitting the reply button. And here's the text box, and if you recall in our first video, I explained how to use all the features of the text box. Now again, you probably want to do most of your composing in a Word doc and then copy and paste it to here. Sometimes students have spent a half an hour composing a really well thought out, eloquent text, and for some reason their browser froze up or they lost internet connection and they had to start all over. So don't let that happen to you. For small text, small replies, you can probably get away with just typing it in here. But for the most part, when it's kind of a juicy primary post, you want to do it in an external document and then paste it here. So let me just post something in here. Okay, just for demonstration purposes, I'll just put something like that. And then once you type that in there, you'll say post a form. Now, you can change it within the next 30 minutes if you like. After that, it's pretty much stuck. So after 30 minutes, all these options right here will disappear. Now you'll notice that this particular reply sort of nested underneath the initial one. And as students begin to populate the discussion, this will sort of go back and forth. So the initial post to the teacher's question will be here, and then people who reply to you will be in here. So it's sort of that nested thing. You can change the view if you like, though. So let's look at some of these options here. Display replies flat with oldest first. Okay, so there's no nesting here. With newest first, well, since there's really only one reply, it's no different. In threaded form, this is a good one. Once it becomes real, popular, and 10 students have replied, and they've all counter-replied, this page is going to get real long. So if you do this view here, now it sort of collapses everybody. And then you can just see the particular student and sort of the back and forth that was going on. And then this is the original one. Now for fun, let's just add another post here. Let me reply to my own initial post. And I said that because you don't usually reply to your own posts. So now you can see how this nesting structure sort of works. And if you change it back to this particular view, you can see how this is working now. Okay, so as students jump in here, this is going to become real long, and it's going to go back and forth, and it'll help you navigate it much easier. Okay? That is how that particular dialogue thread works. Let's go back out here. Now there's an option here to add a new discussion topic. Some professors will put this here, some won't. I would not recommend adding new discussion topics. You should always reply to the question started by the instructor right here. Let the instructor do this part. You just reply within here. And that's basically how you do the dialogue.